what's up, everyone? I'm Tenyan. I'm speaking a little more quietly today since I'm at a hotel and the walls are pretty thin here, and I don't want to disturb the folks around me. But I am at the Fantasia Film Festival and very excited to have seen the premiere of Chris Stuckmann's new horror movie, Shelby Oaks. This is going to be a non-spoiler review of the movie. I would just advise you just to go into this movie not knowing a thing, because this film positions itself as one kind of film, and then there's like a wonderful, very clever bait and switch moment that just completely surprised me and my expectations of what this film would be. The way it was framed and set up was just delightful, and it got a big rise out of the audience, and we were all clapping. There was a nice introduction by Chris and the crew to the movie, and Mike Flanagan, the executive producer on the film, gave a really warm welcome and intro for Chris, and the audience gave a standing ovation, and it was just nice to be a part of that experience. On that note, let's get into this review. The story revolves around the mysterious disappearance of Riley Brennan, a popular YouTuber and host of the series Paranormal Paranoids, who vanished with her 3 co-hosts near the deserted ghost town of Shelby Oaks, Ohio in 2008. Her sister, Mia, played by Camille Sullivan, teams up with a documentary crew in hopes of finding closure, only to uncover a deeper mystery that leads her down a dark and twisted path. First of all, Shelby Oaks cleverly utilizes the found footage horror subgenre in a way that I think also is reflected in its visual style, which has a nice older analog look to it. It definitely has that kind of softness and film grain to the images, and I think it really aids in enhancing kind of the ominous, chilling atmosphere. Shelby Oaks also incorporates elements from other horror subgenres, especially that of folk horror, which I felt gave a nice mythic historical layering to the story. The performances are also quite good, especially that of Camille Sullivan as Mia. She really has to carry the weight of the movie. A lot of the movie is seen through the lens of her character, and Camille has to maintain a sense of intense emotion and fear throughout it, and she does a great job and really sells it when she needs to. The film was shot in Ohio and very effectively utilizes its locations to create an atmospheric backdrop for the mystery, especially that of the Ohio State Reformatory, which was also used in the Shawshank Redemption, and perhaps my favorite sequence and scene from the movie. I thought that was just very well orchestrated and crafted. Fans of Chris Stuckmann's work will also appreciate a lot of the fun cameos peppered throughout the movie. And especially there is one cameo that is perhaps my favorite one, and it is not human. I also was impressed by the sound design and the score, which were really pivotal to the overall impact in creating a nice propulsive beat, intensity, and rhythm to the unfolding mystery and plot. Although I will admit that the sound cues became a little overbearing at times, particularly when the film leaned into the jump scares a little more often than I would have liked, and was really trying to telegraph a mechanical reaction in the audience. I also honestly found the first 2/3 of Shelby Oaks more compelling than the third act and the wrap up at the end. And that was partly due to the fact that I found the big reveals a little too derivative, and I'm thinking of one horror film in particular, which I'm not going to mention the title because it would spoil too much. When you get to the third act, it starts leading into the campiness a bit more and getting a little more over the top, and hey, I love camp. I appreciate that. And I think Shelby Oaks does lean into the campiness with a knowing wink in certain moments. But I do think, too, some of the campiness may not have been intentional. And there was quite a bit of laughter from the audience. Hey, they were all seasoned cinephiles and horror fans, aware of the tropes at play. And I think, too, like me as horror fans, we have a twisted sense of humor, right? What's going to make a normal audience member maybe disgusted or horrified, may get like, a laugh out loud response from like veteran horror fans because, we're so familiar with the tropes at play that, when we see them repeated, it evokes laughter sometimes. And I think Chris is probably well aware of that when he's orchestrating certain scenes in the movie. But I think some of the laughter at certain moments, I think that response might have been like maybe unintentional. And I think the campiness at the end sometimes deflated from like the sense of dread and from like the sense of trauma, which I think the film was trying to convey. So overall, I think Shelby Oaks shines the most through its effective use of location and setting to really craft an atmospheric backdrop for the horror and the mystery. I also think Camille Sullivan's performance very much carries the film and gives it an emotional core. I do think that the film's over reliance on jump scares and the derivative nature of the third act detract from the story overall. But if you're a Stuckmann fan and you're a horror fan, I think it's well worth checking out, particularly for that bait and switch moment alone. So brilliantly executed, where you think you're watching one type of movie and it really takes a rug from out underneath your feet and becomes something different. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Shelby Oaks. Let me know if you were at Fantasia Film Festival. Did you get a chance to see it? Or what was something else that you watched that you really enjoyed? Just share your thoughts below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look for more reviews coming your way soon.